10 black TikTok creators copyright their dance moves. What's the point? Is it even worth it? Let's talk about this. If you're new here, my name is Kenem and you're watching Brand Video Pro. Like and subscribe and follow on Instagram. Okay, so the Shade Room posted this very interesting post the other day, which says TikTok creator Kiara Wilson, who created the Savage Challenge to Megan Thee Stallion's Savage, earned the copyright to her viral dance with help from Jackie Knight. So what's really interesting about this is back earlier in the summer, I want to say maybe June or May, so there were a lot of black creators who went on strike and they refused to make any dance moves. And that is because, there was a lot of white creators who were, replicating their dance moves and not giving them credit for that. And they would get more views and more popularity for these dance moves. And the black creators were just sort of underrepresented, underappreciated in the moves that they created themselves. So these black creators went on strike and decided they're not going to make any dance moves for Meg Thee Stallion's new song at the time. And they're not going to do anything. And what happened as a result, and there were a lot of tweets and memes about this, was that basically the white creators couldn't really come up with any interesting dance moves, and there was like a hiatus in terms of entertaining TikTok dance moves. So it's really interesting that right now they are copywriting their dances. But the real question is, what does this actually mean? How does it prevent or enable other creators to replicate it? Because when you look at the whole concept of being a content creator on the internet, it's really about, I almost think like copyright doesn't really matter in a way. It's really about replicating other ideas, replicating other content and making it your own. And that's what the internet stemmed off doing. So what is the point of copywriting these dance moves? I got some advice from a copyright lawyer to understand like what it really looks like. And what he said is, if it's going to be exploited commercially, then she needs to give permission to the users of the rights. So for example, if it's going to be exploited, any creator that replicates it has to have permission from her, and permission probably will come with a payment, right? But it can also be free, but either way you need permission. So that's one thing. So if permission isn't granted and she can prove there was commercial exploitation, then she can request compensation. So if the dance is just used, then permission and compensation is not entirely necessary. The same way you sing a song on Instagram and you aren't liable. It's a degree of use and the harm to the creator that would determine liability. So basically, the idea here is that if you use a dance and it seems as though you're going to get paid for it, or let's say a creator gets really popular for it, then technically she can enforce that you pay for the use of her dance. But technically, because she has copyrighted this dance and these other creators have copyrighted their dances, they can pretty much control who uses the dance and who doesn't. And there are a lot of questions about being able to track and trace, the way these dances were being used. But I think the main issue here is that there were a lot of popular white creators who were getting probably tens, maybe hundreds of millions of views, or maybe even 1 billion views, who knows, replicating these black creators' dances and not giving them credit, whether that was, writing, hashtagging them or adding them and saying, oh, dance created by. So the point here is not necessarily to go after the little guys that are copying this dance move, but to go for the bigger guys who are actually obviously either monetizing on these dance moves or who are getting a lot of visibility. Because even just by getting, visibility and you at the person who created the dance, then that gives the creator of the dance more visibility and just gives them the credit that they deserve. So is it important for them to copyright this? I think it absolutely is. When we look at a case back in 2017 when Backpack Kid, he came out with this dance move that was unique, and it turned out that Fortnite, the game, they put the dance move in their game. And obviously we know Fortnite is making a fortune, so he obviously sues Fortnite. The whole idea of cultural appropriation, we've seen this happen to the black community in America consistently for generations. And now the thing about the internet, what's very fascinating about the internet is that it reduces the chances of corruption, right? Technology reduces the chances of corruption. So in this specific case, them copywriting this and, you know, and them being able to trace who's using it and how they're using it, they can really control the narrative here, and they can ensure that they get the credit that they deserve. And that's really the issue with cultural appropriation. It's not really about you taking my culture or whatever and showing it to the world, but it's about me being underappreciated for creating something, and you being able to, you being praised for it as, you know, a white person or a person that's not of color, you being praised for appropriating my culture, which I designed, but instead I'm being berated for it. I'm being, you know, put down for it. So that's kind of like the idea behind it. So it's not even a monetary issue necessarily, but it's more of a cultural issue. And I think that is the point here. So if any popular white creators are going to use Black creators' dances, well, at the very least, you should at them in the post so they can get the exposure for the dance that they created. And I think the issue before is that there were a lot of white people that were recreating these dances, and it looked like, you know, because their videos would get, you know, so many views, it looks like they're the ones that invented it, but no, they're not the ones. So that's the whole idea behind copywriting dances. Is it important? Absolutely. Especially, you know, it's important. Absolutely. Yes, there's a monetization aspect, but it's not limited to that. It's also the cultural aspect, and power to them, you know, for finally being able to get the credit that is deserved and needed in the Black community. And I'm so glad to see how technology has changed that. So those are my views on that post. I hope this video was helpful to you. Please, if you have any questions or any thoughts, please leave them down below. And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. This video is brought to you by Brand Video Pros Members Lab, an online course teaching brands and businesses how to tell compelling stories, ultimately to increase their influence and sales. So check that out, the link is in the description to find out more. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. Peace.